Would you look at that? A 1985 Chevy K30 4x4 wrecker. You don't see those too often, with a sleeper. Well, this popped up on Marketplace for dirt cheap, and I just had to have it. I messaged my buddy Tom. I was like, dude, I'm out of town, but if you could go grab this, I'll throw you a bone. And yeah, so he grabbed his gooseneck, picked it up, and let's dive in and see what the deal is with it. All I'm told is it hasn't ran in over 10 years. I can see it's rusty. Look at that rocker, but not the rustiest square body I've ever seen. What really turned me on was that it had the sleeper on it. A cool aluminum sleeper. So that was like, I was just, done deal. I'll take it. You know, what a neat truck. The aluminum bed on it is 17 feet. Got aluminum stake pockets along the edges. And got the controls here. Those look pretty crusty. Actually, that's locked up. A little wiggle on that one. I'll probably spray those down first. Well, let's get to the important stuff, find out what's under the hood. I see it's got fuel injection, which I thought TBI came out in '87. I mean, it doesn't even look like a factory emblem. I don't know. I also, when I took a peek in here after he dropped it off, I see a flywheel. So that's not good. Did I mention a manual transmission? That's another reason I bought it. That might mean that we have, I don't know, chipped ring gear or something. But let's see what we got going on. This is fun, you know. Don't you just love buying junk that you don't know anything about? I can't wait to dig through all these pieces and parts. Ooh, it's a little loose, but look at the sleeper. It's connected. It doesn't seem like it's been leaking. It doesn't really smell in here. Maybe a little moldy, a little bit of must in the air. You know, somebody did some crafty work getting this right, and it's got a wood floor, got doors on each side. This would make a good race car hauler. I didn't get keys for the sides of these either. Let's see what we got going on under here. Oh, this is the diesel. That's I would have rather had a 350 or a 454, but we've got the good old marbly 6.2 Detroit. And I say marbly because you guys have heard when these are running, it just sounds like there's marbles running around the engine. But I mean, this is not all that bad. Everything's there. Missing the battery. Let's see what the engine oil is looking like. I'm just not a big fan of the Detroit 6.2. Sorry if I sound disappointed. I've got nothing on the stick. That a good sign. It is fuel injected. Side of it didn't lie. Oh yeah, big old K&N in there. It's filthy as can be. Not seeing a level in there. Nice, easy to access fuel filter. We got clutch fluid. This has got a hydro boost. What are we looking like in the master cylinder? Ah, yeah, up to level on both sides, and it doesn't even look that filthy. And I'm not surprised because as I'm looking down here, look at that. That's a newer brake hose. So things are looking up. We got the dueling batteries. We'll have to get a pair of those. Probably gonna need them. And somebody left the 5/16 wrench for the side post terminals. Looks like this is probably from a battery, maybe spewing a little acid up there. And evidence of mice chewing at this? Could be, yeah. It almost looks like it was burned though. The next thing is taking a look underneath. Let's see what we're looking like before we even mess with the engine. Up front, we have a very reasonable amount of rust. You can see the rotors have been on the road a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of chunky as we look across. Newer starter in it. And I really like that it's got the newer brake hoses, because that means, you know, somebody had this driving around. If you do brakes, you know it ran. That should have been a dead giveaway that it was a diesel. The reason the guy sold this, by the way, is unfortunately he got ill and has been in and out of the hospital from what I'm told. And so he had his wife start selling off some of his collection of stuff he doesn't use anymore. Just in case you guys are wondering. So up front, that leaf spring's sitting right on the frame. Those bushings must be shot. Big old rust hole in the pipe. PTO leaking some, normal. And glancing at the side of the frame, that is beautiful. no rot, and original floors in here. No license plates looking at us or anything. I'm guessing this is the SM465 trans. There's a look at the flywheel in there. Somebody's got the cover off. Things just coming off in layers. Look at that. And moving right down toward the back, we got a pair of cherry bomb mufflers on it. I like it. I got a good sound. Let's look at the transfer case. And are you guys seeing what I see? This has got a gear vendor on it. That is a major win, especially if it operates properly. This is an overdrive unit for when you're on the highway, which, you know, if you guys ever driven these older 4-speeds, they're so slow on the highway. You're doing 55, so this can get us cruising good. Those things ain't cheap. At least I'm sure our used ones worth at least 1,500 bucks or something. I think they're like over $3 grand new. So let's keep moving back. There's a filter for the hydraulics. We got a screen right here. I guess if you wanted to store some stuff under the bed. This is the bottom side of the storage boxes. Rusty, but no holes that I can see. We got a golf ball. Looking over at the center section of this frame, it's a real nice shape. A little bit of rust jacking on the bottom where it's doubled up. I don't know if that's a true double frame because I don't see, no, it's not on the top, just on the sides and bottom, I think. All the hydraulic hoses intact. So I'm just trying to let you guys get a look at it as I first see it. We definitely need some brake lines. A little crusty, but yeah, I mean, it gets crustier as you go back. That's always the case. I have these boxes. Oh, that's gonna need some lube. Hit that with a little blaster. Let's soak in. You got quad tail lights. Oh, little crack on the where the cylinder attaches to the body. That's either broken off completely or gonna be breaking off. Oh, looks like actually they've rebolted it in the center. You see that? I think this edge gives a good idea of how much use it's had. Doesn't look like it's ever been repaired. See if any of these other boxes open up. I see the fuel fills underneath the bed. So, oh, never mind. I was gonna say you gotta lift it, but it's got an access. All right. Oh, well, that one's moving a little tight. I want to rip those hinges. We got some antifreeze. I'll dump that in since it's empty. We got the jumper cables that probably plug in the front for giving people jumps. My favorite funnel, the Funnel Buddy. Best funnel ever. We got some diesel oil. I guess I'll throw that in too. It's always nice when they come with fluids, you know? And this is like something for the sleeper. That's the same upholstery. All right, so nothing really good. This aluminum bed is sweet. It's a big sell point for me. We got the Kinematics USA. 8,000 pound on first layer. Oh, 8K winch, that's not bad. Triumph, I guess, right? Oh, let's try firing this thing up now. See how low she is on oil first. All right, 1 quart brought us on the stick. You know, I'd be lying if I said I knew a lot about these Detroits. I know, well, I think Detroit engineered them and it was built ground up from them, but GM was involved as well. I think they came out like the early 80s, and then, you know, they went to the 6.5 turbo diesel. I actually used to have one of those for a short period of time. Hated that engine. It just was gutless. That was a turbo model, so I've only seen videos of these mostly in the the Cuck V. The military vehicles had the 6.2s. They are just turds from what I've seen. Oh, I know they have a mechanical injection pump, which I guess that would be right here. This is our cable going back to the rollback to raise the engine RPM, and then our main cable's coming in. Yeah, that's rusted too, huh? And seized. Yeah, you can get some lube on there. Brake pedal, clutch feel okay. Well, clutch feels great. Brake pedal's a little soft, a little funky. Well, I'll hit her up with that blaster too. It was funny. I saw a comment the other day. A guy said, "Quit saying you're lubing everything up. It's I guess he didn't like that too much. If the word lube bothers you, I don't know. That's what I'm talking about. He's like 20 foot. Sweet. And with dueling batteries, you'll have plenty of juice. For a battery, I don't have any side post batteries, but I do have the trusty Marine starting battery, and we can use these up top, no problem. Just gotta rip these screws out of here. Oh. There we go. Worst design. We got clickage. Is the key on? Yeah, it is. That's funny. If I would have taken a closer look earlier, would have saw the gear vendor control in here, along with the switch. Love it. Original tape deck by Delco. And by the way, the mileage, we're at 74,000 miles. Maybe 174, who knows. We got manual windows too. One battery ought to do it. I don't think we'll do any fuel priming or nothing. Let's just neutral it out and give her a crank. Fingers crossed. Nothing. Come on now. So down here at the starter, purple wire is on there. Seems to be fine. Notice these two red wires. It looks like somebody cut them open. And glance down the intake. No throttle flaps at all on a diesel. The engine RPM and power is directly controlled by how much fuel it gets. I mean, at least this injection pump's like easy to get to, right? Unlike modern stuff. 6.7 Ford, forget about it. You ever work on one of those? You got this green wire attached to the purple. See if we're getting anything down there on crank. No, nothing. What did you find to roll in, Gus?
You found a sticky spot.
Yeah, he's like chewing it and then rolling in it. Looks like a dead piece of some kind of animal. Oh, Gus, you're disgusting. You're terrible. Just terrible. Oh, all right. Yeah, that's not good. Starter's not engaging with the flywheel. Doesn't even sound like it's trying to engage. Where you going, Goose Man? Let's go run in the yard. Come on. Come on, boy. Let's go get him. Oh, you're beating me. Who is just the best wiener ever, huh? This is a good opportunity to show you one of these jack rods. They recently sent me a few of these to try out, and it essentially turns your jack into a jack stand. These are rated for a max load of 2 tons. Here's a look at the action. You pop that pin out, and you have a secondary pin and spring loaded, so this shoots out. Well, the idea is after you get it jacked up, slide yourself under, and I guess you could use it either which way, but if you're going that way, it's fully extended. I can drop the pin back in too. Make sure this pin's locked, and then relieve the hydraulic pressure, and yeah, you don't have to worry about the jack weeping down on you. Of course, jack stands are always going to be safer, but I think that's a great unit to have if you're on the road somewhere and you don't have room for jack stands. Always make sure to give it a good shake, whether you're using stands or jack rod. Look at this, somebody put those poly bushings in, completely shot and split apart. All right. Yeah, I wonder if this just has some alignment issues going on. I'm just noticing we got like brand new front calipers too. Right before this thing was parked, somebody tossed those on with the hoses. These aren't the proper starter bolts. They don't have the knurled ends on them. But they are grade 8. All the teeth look fine on the drive gear, and the Bendix comes all the way out and retracts. Let's give it a little juice. Oh, it's not getting a good ground. That's what's going on. I'm gonna push it up against here a little bit harder. Yeah, seems fine. Let's get a socket up on this crank. Grab 1 inch, 15/16. 7/8 too. 15/16 it is. And here we go. All right, rotating nicely. Actually, oh, that doesn't feel good. That's rotating like really easy. But let's spin them on the back. I know these things are notorious for like broken cranks and broken blocks. You know, hopefully I'm not dealing with anything like that. I'm gonna run over to the parts store, get some GM starter shims, because it's a little odd that there's no shims at all, and like the Bendix, the drive gear is probably just not able to mesh into there. We'll space it off some, that should fix it. Here we go. Yes, I could have just cut these out of some sheet metal, but we got a 20 thou, 40 thou, and 60 thou. I think I'll start with the 40. If you go to swap these, you could just leave the inside bolt and then just slide them out. Actually, now that I'm looking in there with it bolted up, the pinion shaft, the clearance between the teeth and that looks to be excessive. Let's see what it does though. Okay, yeah, there's way too much clearance in there. The shims were a waste of time. I should have just looked at it closer before. There's supposed to be like an 1/8 inch gap between this drive gear shaft and the ring gear, and there's like about 3/8 when it's mounted up with 0 shims. So that's an issue. What is going on? I guess we're gonna have to shim just one side, which, geez, we could have just used washers at this rate. See, originally I thought there was not enough clearance and the gear was just flying out and rubbing on the edge of the ring gear, but clearly that's not the case. So I've done an absurd amount of shimming over on this side, and I still just have way too big of a gap. I think this is the wrong starter. Even with this one loose, as much as wiggling I do and bring it down, it doesn't matter. All the way up, all the way down. I know you guys can't see what I'm looking at, but there's just no mesh that's going to be taking place. Now here's a closer look at the starter. You can see it's an offset reduction style. It's a Remy 25447. Based on my quick research, yes, it does fit a K30 with the 6.2 V8 diesel. It gets mounted up yonder, and again, the shims would only put it further away from the flywheel, and I shimmed the outside, which did make it a little bit better, but I don't want a cockeyed, and you can only go so much, so I think the only next option is to machine this surface down. It's just too much metal on here. I'm just packing away. And there's what we're looking like. It's not a perfect surface, but we took the majority off on this side so it can drop in, rotate a little bit more toward the flywheel. I should not have to do this, but you know, worst case, we'll get another starter tomorrow if this doesn't work. 'Cause I wonder if somebody, you know, that's why they got the brand new flywheel for it, because they were having this issue and they were like, oh, put a new starter, that didn't fix it. Get my workout for the day, bench press the starters, right? Yeah, that might actually be where we need to be, about an 1/8 inch gap. And wired back up, let's see if that meshes. Yes. Woo! All right, well, you see she's rocking back and forth a bunch though. That's, we gotta get this end bracket on. And that sounded like some compression too there. I was a little worried because I was hand rotating this thing like it was nothing. The back of the starter's got a support bracket. Let's see if it wobbles as much now. Okay, yeah, it's not wobbling now. Maybe low compression on a couple cylinders, but I'll take it. And we got no spark to worry about. So I think the next step is we'll open up this bleed on the fuel filter housing. I noticed this does have a mechanical pump mounted down on the block. And then just give it a quick shot. Here we go. Oh yeah, you guys heard it. And you got a jump pack on there. Did notice a little sticker near the battery that says, do not apply more than nominal 12 volts to electrical system during charging or jump starting. Glow plug failure can result. You know, most jump packs are 15 volts, including this start all. But I'm sure this needs glow plugs anyway. The good all start all. Best jump pack ever. Thing is a monster. There it is. Yes. So on this fuel system, the hose comes up from the pump tags into a hard line under the intake, and then comes in the top. On the bottom of this, we have a little fuel drain, so let's see if there's anything in here. That's a negatory. Oh yeah, bone dry, almost like somebody threw a new one on there and never got it to purge or flow. Oh, we're hooked up to auxiliary fuel now. A little drip off the bottom, but look, out of our purge there. That's good. I did get the throttle moving on this too. It's a little tight, you know, it doesn't return either. I got the key turned on now. Let's do a crank over, see what happens with the fuel. Okay. It's probably a little bit late to be doing this though. She wants to go. Definitely getting some diesel. And next day, let's get this thing making some noise. The fuel filter housing leak is this, whatever that piece is. So I'm gonna leave that alone for now. It's fortunately just a small drip. Might even fix itself once the fuel gets in there and swells it. We might have to crack these injectors loose to get all the air out, but I don't know, it seems like it wants to fire, so let's keep giving it a go. Whoa, that jumped in the gear there. What the heck? That could have been bad. What happened? I have never had a vehicle just randomly jump into gear like that. It's easy to get in though. Look at this. So maybe when I was in here, I bumped it just a little bit and it was sitting in the middle, and then when I was rotating, it just kind of just feathered in. Huh. Maybe we'll put the transfer case in neutral. I'm surprised that even moves. All right, that should be neutral there. Let's find out. Leave this in gear. Yeah. All right, that's safer that way because we don't need this diesel firing up in gear, rolling me over. I'll leave it neutral anyway, but. Jeez. Well, that seemed like it wanted to run away, huh? This is fully closed too. Pull some vacuum. Wow. Yeah, it's got good compression at least. Get that battery charging up. And see this pink wire, we got key on. This should have power. Yes. This is like the fuel cutoff solenoid on top of the pump. Let's see if we hear a click. Get this wire off. There we go. Yeah, it's clicking. So from what I was reading online, these should self-prime themselves once you've bled the air out of the fuel filter, which we did. I guess just keep cranking for a while. I'm not gonna go with any more starting fluid. We know it runs, so it's we'll keep that out of the picture. Crack one of these injectors loose. See if we got any fuel shooting out of that. Now, we are not getting any fuel. Oh, trickle coming. Okay, yeah, we actually do have fuel coming up. We gotta keep cranking her over and then maybe get the cooling system plugged in too, because it was below freezing last night. Now that, or we could remove the glow plug so it just cranks over a whole bunch. Get everything, get all the air out. I think it's time for a second battery, and we should probably fill this cooling system, get it plugged in too. I don't know if we got any chance. I mean, again, we are getting fuel from what I'm seeing, so it should fire up. All right, what's a gallon and a half low? Find out if this block heater works. The most reliable car in our fleet. 86 Mustang. This is actually Jen's car, but I secretly convinced her to get a Mustang because I love driving it. I think with the second battery, we're gonna be able to fire it right up. Just go with a Marine starting battery like always. Cheapest thing, and it works perfect. You can take it outside post, same size, $195. And I've ran my tester on these before. They pull the same cranky amps. Oh yeah, dueling batteries, and the block is actually getting a touch warm. Oh, the plug-in's working, but that's more like leave it in for hours. Got her going. Sounding pretty good. Maybe a couple misfires, and we just got fuel pumping out of the tank too, which looked fine. And you guys know diesel lasts a long time. Take a fuel sample of what's coming off out of that tank. Oh yeah. Listen to it go. Rowdy, ready to go. Yeah, I don't even see much water in there. It's definitely older diesel, but we'll run it. Let's figure out why this is not starting now. Ah, the clutch safety switch is just not hooked up. Got the wires back in. Let's see if that switch works. No, I'll just bypass it. Mini fuse for the win. Burp some of the air out of this thing too. It's running a little odd. I gotta get it out of here though. My neighbors are not gonna want to smell this thing or listen to it. Let's see if it goes into gear. Put it in on here. All right. Let's see if the clutch is seized up. Yeah, we are in gear. Oh yeah, feel that friction plate going. I can hear the crud on it. Every tire took air except for this inner one. It's off the bead. This bead actually has a fair bit of rust, so I'm going to go over the whole thing with some bead sealer. Just slop it on in. I like that the brakes are nice and free. There it goes. So while the other side rotates freely, this side does not. And he did have the parking brake on when he took this off the trailer. Both of the cables seem to be fully retracted. That one's probably not. We also got this hydraulic hose that's about to just like lay on the drive shaft and tie that up. That's it. Just need a couple whacks. Fuel tank support's coming apart a little bit with the other straps in place. The gauge registered 3/4 tank, and yeah, that's definitely got 3/4 tank in it. Passenger side sounds like it's full too. I'm excited to see if this bed moves, and after some thermal persuasion in PB, I got these all moving good. This one was really stubborn, but it's not returning yet. These ones are like that, like new. Look at that. have some sticking or leaking injectors, it seems. And I was just doing a little reading up on these injection pumps. Now, we could have a few things going on, like we hooked back up our fuel line, fuel hose from the tank, and so we could be getting air in the system from the maybe a bad pump or a bad line or a selector valve or whatever. But to me, it seems like it's just dumping fuel, or it's over advanced. On these pumps, there is these two little lines, you see them? And that's how you can tweak the timing, but that's factory set, lined up. And down on the bottom, there is a advanced arm. You see that? So I'm wondering if that might be stuck. Just stuck in. So get some PV down there, get it lubed up. That smoothed it right out. Look, no more smoke. Perfect. It was just way over advanced. See, if I open the throttle, it goes ahead and advances mechanically, but then it's not. Well, actually, now it is starting to return. It's not returning on its own. That's the problem. That's full advance, and then you release. It's only coming out a little bit, unless I give it some assistance, and then it comes all the way out. I'll just keep hitting it with blaster and working it back and forth until it's smooth. Like, now it's good. Let's try this PTO out real quick, see what that does. Goes, and we're not dumping oil all over the ground. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh heck yeah, this thing works great. Now we can slide it back now. That's all the way back and up. I can't believe how quiet this is with the open exhaust. Like I was saying, I don't like these Detroit diesels, but this thing sounds way quieter than the 6.5 turbo I used to have. I don't hear marbles in the engine. Yep, plenty of fluid. It's over a half tank, and that's with the cylinders extended. This is Jen's first time seeing the truck running. We can go on a trip in this thing. You want to sleep in the sleeper?
You can sit back there.
Come on, there's plenty of room. This actually doesn't have power down. I guess it just relies on the weight of the bed or the car you have on. It's got those hook locks too, so you leave the bed back when you go down and then you push it forward to lock it down. Makes sense to have them because you don't want the bed flopping up when you're going down the road if you have too much weight in the back. I think the only thing left to do today is go for a little test drive. See if everything operates with the transmission, and then we'll deal with that fuel leak later, a little fuel drip. Check the trans fluid, differential in the back, and the gear bender oil. Wouldn't want to blow that up. Full throttle. That's it. Man, this thing is a dog. Starting to have that marbly sound. I think the idle could be turned up a touch on this too, but I don't know, it seems to be idling fine, so what the heck. markers up top, one out right here. Oh, we even got the little running board lights. That's awesome. No markers over here. Looking A-okay out back too. This 6.2 has definitely earned an oil change. Not that you'll even be able to tell when you check the oil, because as soon as you start these things up, it's, you know, black as night with a diesel. I've heard a good way for checking if you're due for an oil change is put a little on your finger, rub it around, and if it turns your entire finger black, then it is time for an oil change. A lot of soot and junk in there. And that oil filter wasn't even tight. You did not want to drop the filter and splash this oil all over the place. Oh, here, many hours later, and it got cold out. Since this is ice cold now, it gives us the opportunity to try out cold starting ability. I did test the glow plugs. I don't know if they're actually getting hot though, but they're all getting power. And then this also has the green wire that should be hot. It is when it's cold, because it has this cold high idle solenoid and then a cold advanced solenoid inside the body I was reading about. And what it does is actually restrict the flow from the return lines from the injectors. Yeah, that's no go. I'm gonna go ahead and say this thing probably needs all 8 glow plugs. They're cheap enough, get a set of them tomorrow. Ah, came right out. Well, 6 of them came out easy, but unfortunately 2 are being very stubborn. This back one, you know, it's loose. I just can't get it to come out. And same deal on this front one, although it's a little tighter. I can't even wiggle it by hand, but it's fully unthreaded. So I'm guessing that means the tips on those 2 have bulged out. Of these 6 plugs, only one of them is actually good. And you can see why they call them a glow plug. Wonder how long until that would just pop. For the ones that don't want to come out, a little pry bar action. Oh, sweet, that came out. One piece. You can see why it didn't want to come out though, because it's the head's blowing up on it. 30 minutes later, I finally got the last one out. It was completely bent over. Got really lucky it didn't break off in there. Why are you sitting like that, boy? Come on, let's go to bed. Yeah, I'm excited. We got 8 new high quality AC Delco glow plugs. These are made in Germany and had them in stock at the store, $9 a piece. Oh, this is something like, there's cheaper ones you can get on Amazon, but I think going with OEM on this is worth it. It's just too risky with them breaking off in the head or anything else with cheap parts. But I figure while they're out, let's do a compression check on each cylinder. See where we're at. Should be 380 or above. I saw it hit 425, but this gauge settled at 400 and it doesn't seem to have any leak down. Not bad. And that's what we ended up with. They're all within 80% of each other. Pretty healthy engine, actually. I did have to cut the exhaust manifold back a little bit to get the last one in, and also modify my tool because it was tight fit. But yeah, let's anti-seize these plugs up and slap them in. A little dab of copper anti-seize will do ya. Let's plug this pink wire back in on the fuel solenoid before we forget. I don't know if you guys noticed on the first test, blowing all the diesel. Makes sense that you would unplug that when you're doing a compression check. Let's do the glow plugs cold start. Lesson learned. If you're messing with a Detroit 6.2, make sure the glow plugs are good, because you're gonna need them. Ain't no Cummins, right? Now let's see what we can do about this fuel leak, because this is leaking down each time we shut it off, and the last thing you want is air in your diesel fuel system. Yeah, it's basically leaking halfway down to that point. It seems a common upgrade is to just bypass these altogether, which I don't know if you guys saw before, but there is a fuel filter inside of here. So clearly somebody probably planned to do that, but I'd rather keep it all factory since this is kind of a nice block. Let's see if we pop that out. Maybe it's an O-ring. This is the fuel restriction sensor. This is the fuel heater, and then that's the water and fuel sensor. Kind of nice having all those, you know? Well, that was easy to come out. It doesn't appear. Oh, there's an O-ring back here. Look at that. Yeah, it's rock hard. And it's all dry rotted and torn. Should have something over in the miscellaneous O-rings. Since, you know, this is a little skinny guy, you're not going to find that in the standard O-ring kit. Might get lucky here, usually do. Well, that one's the perfect size, but it is considerably larger. Let's see if we can make it work. Slop her up with a little grease. And it was just pushed on the back before, but I guess we want to slide it over. I think the purpose of this sensor is it's on the inlet side, so if there's a restriction back at the tank or something, it'll sense that, set a light, so you don't destroy your pump, injection pump, that is. I think that might do it. It can't pop out because the filter holds it on. I didn't look up procedure, but I think what makes sense is disconnect the pink wire, open this bleed, crank it over to get the air out of the filter. It took a lot of cranking before we got fuel up there, but now I can plug the pump back in and it should start. Leak fixed. And we gotta check all our driveline fluids. Good up front. Good on the trans. A little milky looking. Yeah, it's just foamy actually. Transfer case. Good. Now for the gear vendor. Wondering if this might be what was making noise in the driveline when we were driving though. Yeah, we're low. Let's drain this, see what comes out. Alright. It looks fine. I don't see any, it's not full of gray material. I think these actually take GM synthetic fluid, they say, but people put 90 weight for softer shifts. I think I'll fill it with gear oil based on what I was reading on the forums. Yeah, that stuff's really light. I magged it on the bottom too with some crud, but not terrible. And we're all good out back too. Now I'd say we should get this looking a little bit more street legal. Vacuum up the rust that's been rattling out of these rockers. Might as well let the rust out, right? Open them up. Oh yeah, mouse nest in there. Check that out. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a logo. It says Performance Edge. I can barely make out. I can see the phone number too now. Last time I showed a phone number on the DeBall's wrecker, everybody was calling it. I am just jumping around like usual, but I decided I'm gonna try to take this down the highway to an exhaust shop tomorrow. I figured I'd look at these front brakes, and actually both sides are dragging real bad, even though it had new calipers on there. The bad rust jacking between the caliper was just locking it into place. But check this out. The locking hubs operate. See, that's locked. And boom. That's a win. The caps on this front axle, look at how far gone those nuts are. I mean, I'm not going to worry about it right now, but that'll have to be addressed in the future. Luckily, you know, with the brand new hoses, and the pistons are perfect looking on those calipers. Also just ordered a set of tires, $100 a piece for some LT all-terrain. But I don't mess around with a drive rod when you can stick your finger in there. That's all the way down to the belts. And this is a good example of how that jack rod, you know, it comes in handy if you're just popping tires off or looking at the brakes real quick. Of course, leave the jack locked out too, you know, hydraulically. Oh, what's up, guys? Look at this, I got over 6'3" for laying down and sleeping in here. This thing was just full of trash. A little tight getting that in and out, but I like it. I don't have keys to it, so I haven't been able to find out what's down in here, but I guess we'll pull this plywood up. You guys ever wonder how these operate on a sleeper? I've always seen them. I'm like, what is this? Does it pop out? It turns out you can go either which way. Like, you go that way and it flips open to allow air in, or you can pull it the opposite way and then that'll just pull air out of the cab. Man, not much storage on the edges, but a couple jugs of antifreeze, full. And on the other side, just a spare belt and a Little Red, the Thoroughbred hat.
His name was Little Red. He was a thoroughbred.
That's a true cold start. 37 degrees out. We're gonna try to go get some exhaust this morning. Got the interior cleaned up a fair bit. Also, the gear vendor is wired up, so it's powering up. I'm gonna hit some speed, see if it operates. All right, cruising down the freeway pretty good. Here goes overdrive. Oh yeah, it works good. Very nice. With some mufflers, this will be a pretty good cruise. Let's see how it is clicking out of this. I guess you'd want to accelerate a touch. Yeah, pretty smooth. Back in. I like it. Gotta shake off all the rust on this thing. Doing in my town. Hawks recovery. By the way, I did figure out the driveline rattle that I heard the other day was actually the transfer case wasn't all the way in properly. It was kind of in the middle of the 2 and 4 wheel. Here is the place. American Exhaust and Brakes. Like an old gas station. There's not too many exhaust shops around anymore, but I figure, I mean, it's a Saturday, so I don't think these guys will be able to take it in, but we'll see. Well, the owner there, Jay, was real nice, but he said everything was not available as far as the downpipes and such for this. And I mean, American custom exhaust, I figured he doesn't think his bender would be able to take care of the job, so I'm gonna try one other place, but they're not open till Monday. So you can hit this gear bender at low speed. Here it goes. But if you leave it on, if you slow down enough, it'll actually click out on its own. See, if I go too slow, there it goes. It comes out on its own. Oh, these shore drives came in. Check out the aggressive pattern on them. These are actually made in Vietnam too, which is kind of cool because a lot of the budget tires made in China these days. as well go in to get me out of a jam pile. Oh yeah, looks like some rock crawler now. Now we just gotta go do some off-road recoveries. Just give me 40 acres to turn this rig around.
Give me 40 acres and I'll turn this rig around.
Well, the sun has set and I've got our first off-road job, or mission, if you will. Get on down the road, I'll show you what we're dealing with. Essentially, a vehicle that somebody dumped there, lit on fire, and it's been there as long as I can remember. Nobody seems to be removing it. It's on railroad property. The wrecker can get back there, no problem, but it's got no wheels. It's a job that bringing a trailer back there would probably be a little too tight turning around or getting backed up. So I think a 4x4 Rollback fits the ticket. The goal is to clean up the environment and maybe make a little scrap money at the same time. I'm gonna put a quiet exhaust on this, but I will miss these straight pipes. This thing sounds good. I don't know how it comes across on camera, but you know, it's peppy for a diesel. I think we'll actually be all right in two-wheel drive. Unfortunately, it's not ringing that bad yet, and they actually went over this. They were doing telephone pole replacement back here, so I think we'll be okay. Probably should have checked four-wheel drive at home because it's not working. Here we are. I think it's an old Grand Cherokee, like 2001, 3, something like that. And this might actually be tougher than I thought because it's really sunk into this lagoon pretty good. Got no wheels. Slides right up the aluminum bed. I know they're notoriously worse for wrecks because sharp metal can stab into them, get you jammed up. We'll see what this winch has got. Reminds me, I didn't check the oil level either yet. Kind of hard to get locked out. It has to be in the right position. There it goes. Yeah, I would have rather not came down on this stuff and just winched it up top, but what are you gonna do? Once we get some weight on there, get a little bit more traction. Dragging it right out so far. That's a good used wheel. Our problem is the passenger side. It's not one that go up on the bed. This and pull up to lift it. Destroy your aluminum bed, gouge it all up. I think a steel bed's definitely the way to go. actually went better than I thought. Luckily, a good amount of roots down in here. Chain her down, get this junk off of here, and be on the way. Transfer case in there too. Guess I'll keep that. Successful first job for the rollback. I stopped over at the storage yard, fired up the old DeBalls wrecker, and I got a buyer lined up for the Cadillac 500. It's got the tried and true Tundra, but I have to show you the rust under this thing. It is crazy. This dropper on in?
Yeah, man, let it go.
He said, make sure we put it on the right side of the bed. Just wait till you guys see the left side of the frame of this thing. Yeah, get your clip under here. If you guys thought my Tundra was rusty, this guy's, he's got some balls driving this thing home. Look at this. Oh, smokes. And it continues on up front. Got the O2 sensor just resting up against the drive shaft. It's amazing how well the bodies hold up on these trucks though. I mean, look at the bottom of the door, absolutely spotless. He's also got the bed reinforced to the truck. That keeps it good. What are you putting this in?
Model A.
Okay, wow, that'll be a cool project. Heck yeah. You gonna rebuild it first or just fire it up and let it rip?
Gas kit right inside the truck.
Nice. Sounds like a cool project. Glad to see it going to a good home. I did keep the Quadrajet off of it, which I'm going to try out on the airboat this year and replace the Holly. And yeah, hopefully this engine doesn't blow up because then I'm going to kick myself in the butt for selling that other one. Yeah, after driving this versus the rollback, I gotta say, I do really like that 6.2. You got the 350 and this, the TBI, it's just gutless. Gotta fix the belt in this thing. It's can barely hear it over the exhaust though. It's a loose power steering belt, a loose alternator too, and let's see, that's been, probably should have tightened that before. Little update on the four-wheel drive. There's all the linkage for the transfer case. I got that sprayed up real good and it's operating nicely. And the transfer case actually is locked in the four-wheel. It's just the passenger side manual locking hub that's not engaging, which I thought these were working when I tried them the first time. Oh, now it goes in. Okay. No, I just probably replace this. I don't know why the cap's all sloppy, but we got the rear wheels jacked up now in four-wheel, so it should go forward if it's working properly. Yeah, four-wheel works awesome. All right, guys, today's the day we're gonna finally get this thing quiet. So I just dropped it over at low-cost exhaust. They're gonna quote me a price. They're usually really reasonable here. We were gonna do a stack, but I think I'm gonna just run it all the way out, shoot out passenger rear. Barely lift there. It's supposed to rain all week. Hopefully they can knock this out today and we'll be back on the road. If you guys are in the Bucks County, Pennsylvania area, consider checking them out if you want a reasonable price on new exhaust. It's supposed to be like this all week. Actually, a little hail coming down right now too. For April. Crazy. And check it out, header's back. We got fresh down pipes coming over to a little Y. Nice welds on all these, look real good. Brand new hangers throughout. We shoot all the way back to the Jeep Gladiator muffler. That's right, I had him pull one of the brand new takeoffs out of his scrap pile. Use that because this will last a lot longer than anything aftermarket. I think that's gonna be a good move. Mopar, baby. Went with 2.5 on the whole thing, so we should have a nice amount of exhaust pressure to just shoot it out. And now all you can hear is the engine. Man, she's quiet. Listen to that. I love it. Maybe I'll weld in an exhaust dump at some point too, in case we want to go straight pipes. Now all I hear is some rattles out back that can be addressed, but this thing is just whisper quiet. Oh, forgot we don't have a fifth gear. Let's just hit that gear bender. And of course we need a alignment. Drives pretty straight though. Cruising highway speed. All you hear is the airflow. Well, this guy's got a 10-inch stack in his bed. The wide tires. So dumb looking. The one thing they didn't do is chamfer the edge of these pipes. I'll hit them real quick, and I'm sure some of you guys are typing right now that I should have went with 3-inch single all the way back. But I really wanted that factory muffler, which had 2.5. And this thing's non-turbo. I think that's really all it needs. I didn't notice any power decrease at all, but who knows, maybe in the future we'll add dumps and do a thorough test on if you actually increase any power with exhaust diameter on these. I don't think so. And who knows, maybe it'll run more fuel efficient like this too. One other thing I gotta do is drill a weep hole at the bottom of this muffler. You see from the factory they come with a little drainage hole, but that's not at the bottom anymore. That way, you know, if excessive condensation gets in there, it can drain out. That's it. Good to go. That'll wrap this one up. Much more to do on the truck, but for now, it works and it's very useful. It's always a gamble when you buy something that doesn't run. This one panned out. I'm gonna switch gears now, get going on this 67 Mustang, and I wanna be cruising this when the nice weather comes out, so we'll just do a cheap refurbished job to get her roadworthy, since if you guys saw that video, the frame is really rusted. Darn unibodies, right? And then all these parts for another Mustang. All that and more in the future. Thanks so much for tuning in. No Nonsense Know-How. Hey guys, look what just came in the P.O. box. Somebody sent you a couple gifts here. Ooh, what's that? Oh, that looks fun. That's a monkey you can chew up. Oh yeah, he's excited. Gus, you got something else here, boy. What's this? Oh, there's more squeakers in there. Oh. All right, let's see which one you want. Which one is it? The ice cream? The ducky? None of them smell like food. The ducky. He's gonna murder the ducky. And Mr. Turbo, you got something too. Look at this. Oh, that's pretty cool, huh? Turbo and Gus say thank you very much to the Mechanics for the gifts and little cards. Look at that. Meow, meow, Turbo.